Hello and welcome, listeners. Today, we're going on a special journey together through one of history's most remarkable books, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I'll be your guide as we explore the thoughts of a Roman emperor who lived almost 2,000 years ago. But don't let that intimidate you. Marcus Aurelius's ideas are timeless and can help us all live better lives today. A powerful emperor who ruled much of the known world sits down at night in his tent on the battlefield or in his palace chambers. Instead of planning conquests or counting treasures, he writes notes to himself about how to be a good person. These private thoughts were never meant to be published, yet they've become one of the world's most influential books on how to live well. Over the next 1 hour, we'll explore Marcus's ideas about life, happiness, dealing with difficult people, facing challenges, and finding peace within ourselves. I'll explain these ancient ideas in simple, everyday language we can all understand and apply to our own lives. So, find a comfortable spot, take a deep breath, and let's begin our adventure through the wisdom of Meditations. Part 1. Who was Marcus Aurelius? Before we dive into Marcus's ideas, let's meet the man himself. Marcus Aurelius was born in Rome in the year 121 CE, during a time when the Roman Empire was at its height of power. Unlike many who are born into privilege, Marcus didn't become spoiled or selfish. From a young age, he showed a love for learning and developed a strong sense of duty. When he was just a boy, the Emperor Hadrian noticed something special about Marcus. He had a serious nature and seemed wise beyond his years. As Marcus grew older, he studied hard, learning from the best teachers of philosophy, especially the ideas of a school of thought called Stoicism. Now, Stoicism isn't about having no feelings, as we sometimes use the word today. Instead, it's a practical philosophy about focusing on what we can control, accepting what we can't change, understanding our place in nature, and living with virtue and wisdom. At age 40, Marcus became Emperor of Rome, one of the most powerful positions in the ancient world. He ruled for 19 years, from 161 to 180 CE. But his time as emperor wasn't easy. He faced wars, plagues, rebellions, and family troubles. Through it all, he tried to be fair, thoughtful, and kind, qualities not always associated with Roman emperors. During the difficult later years of his reign, often while on military campaigns far from home, Marcus wrote his Meditations. These weren't grand philosophical treatises meant to impress others. They were more like a personal journal or diary, notes to himself about how to stay true to his values amid life's challenges. What makes his writings so special is their honesty. This wasn't a man trying to appear perfect. These were the private thoughts of someone struggling, just like all of us do, to be better today than he was yesterday. When we read Meditations, we're essentially looking over the shoulder of one of history's most powerful men as he reminds himself to be humble, patient, and kind. It's like finding the private notebook of someone who had everything but understood that true happiness comes from within. Part 2. The Big Ideas in Meditations. Now that we know a bit about Marcus, let's explore the main ideas that run through his Meditations. I'll introduce these big concepts first, and then we'll dive deeper into each one with examples and stories. First is the idea that we can't control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. Marcus reminds himself again and again that getting upset about things we can't change only creates unnecessary suffering. Second is the understanding that everything in nature, including us humans, is connected and temporary. Nothing lasts forever, and accepting this fact helps us appreciate what we have while we have it. Third is the emphasis on virtue, being honest, fair, self-controlled, and courageous as the only true good. Marcus believed that doing the right thing, even when it's difficult, is what gives life meaning. Fourth is the practice of seeing things as they truly are, without adding dramatic stories or excessive emotions. Marcus was a master of stepping back from situations and seeing them clearly. And fifth is the importance of focusing on the present moment. Not worrying about the future or regretting the past, but fully engaging with what's happening right now. These might sound simple, but they're profound ideas that can transform how we experience life. Let's explore each one more deeply. Part 3. Controlling our responses. One of Marcus's most powerful insights is about where we place our attention and energy. He writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." To understand this better, let's imagine a rainy day that ruins your plans for a picnic. The rain itself isn't good or bad. It's just rain. But if you spend the day angry about the weather, you've created your own suffering. Marcus would suggest accepting what you can't change, the weather, and focusing on what you can control. Perhaps enjoying an indoor activity instead or rescheduling your picnic for another day. He compares this approach to standing beside a clear spring of water. If someone stirs up mud in the spring, the clear water becomes cloudy. But if you wait patiently, the mud settles and the water becomes clear again. Our minds work similarly. When disturbed by outside events, we can wait for clarity to return rather than stirring up more emotional mud. Marcus reminds himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This doesn't mean ignoring genuine problems or never feeling sad or angry. Marcus wasn't suggesting we become emotionless robots. He was reminding himself that many of our strongest reactions come from how we interpret events, not the events themselves. Let me share a modern example. Imagine you're waiting for a friend who's 30 minutes late. You might think, how disrespectful. They obviously don't value my time. They're always late. This interpretation makes you angry. Or you could think, I hope they're okay. Maybe they're stuck in traffic or had an emergency. While I wait, I can enjoy this quiet moment to read or simply breathe. Same situation, completely different experience. Marcus practiced this mental shift constantly. When someone was rude to him, instead of thinking, what a terrible person, he would consider all the reasons someone might act unkindly. Perhaps they were in pain, didn't know better, or were having a difficult day. By changing how he interpreted others' actions, he could respond with patience rather than anger. As emperor, this skill wasn't just helpful for his peace of mind. It probably prevented unnecessary conflicts and even wars. Part 4. Our connected, temporary nature. The second big idea in Meditations involves understanding our place in nature and the temporary nature of all things. Marcus often reminds himself that humans are just one small part of a vast natural system. He writes, all things are connected with one another, and the bond is holy. He saw humanity as a kind of family or community where we all depend on each other. This led him to emphasize cooperation over competition, kindness over cruelty. To Marcus, even people who behaved badly were still part of this human family. He writes, when people injure you, ask yourself what good or harm they thought would come of it. If you understand that, you'll feel no need to be angry. Perhaps they were mistaken about what's good or harmful. If so, they don't deserve anger, but instruction or pity. Alongside this sense of connection, Marcus constantly reminded himself that everything is temporary. Empires rise and fall. Fame comes and goes. Even mountains erode over time. He writes, look at the past, empire succeeding empire, and from that, extrapolate the future. The same pattern will recur. It's not possible to step twice into the same river, nor to touch mortal substance twice in the same condition. For by the speed of its change, it scatters and gathers again. This might sound depressing at first, but Marcus found it liberating. If everything changes and passes away, including our troubles, why get so upset about temporary problems? And if good things don't last forever, shouldn't we appreciate them more deeply while they're here? Consider how we often take for granted the people we love, assuming they'll always be there. But understanding the temporary nature of life can wake us up to appreciation. When you truly realize that nothing lasts forever, not your home, your possessions, or even your relationships, you might find yourself treating each day as precious. Marcus applied this thinking to fame and reputation too. He writes, "How quickly all things disappear, the bodies of men, the remembrance of their actions. How empty are the verbose showings of honor and the flattery of our admirers." He knew that even as emperor, eventually history would forget him, though ironically, his meditations has kept his memory alive far longer than he imagined. This perspective helped him stay humble and focus on doing good for its own sake, not for recognition. Part 5. Virtue as the only true good. For Marcus Aurelius, the only thing that truly matters in life is virtue, living according to principles like honesty, justice, courage, and self-control. He writes, "Just as the good actor performs well whatever role is assigned, so too the good person performs well whatever comes their way." Marcus believed that no external circumstance could prevent us from acting with integrity. Whether you're rich or poor, healthy or sick, popular or alone, you can always choose to act virtuously. To understand this better, think about how we often believe certain things will make us happy: more money, better looks, a bigger house, more followers on social media. Marcus would say these external things can't provide lasting happiness because they're outside our control and temporary. Instead, he focused on developing an inner character that couldn't be taken away by fortune or other people. He writes, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This isn't just abstract philosophy, it's intensely practical. When we base our happiness on external success, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. Jobs can be lost, relationships can end, health can fail. But if we find meaning in developing our character and doing good, we always have a path forward. Let me share a modern example. Imagine two people who lose their jobs. The first person has built their identity around their career title and salary. Losing the job feels like losing themselves, leading to despair. The second person certainly feels disappointed but thinks, "This is a chance to show courage and resilience. I can still be kind to my family, honest in my job search, and helpful to others despite my own challenges." This person has a source of meaning that transcends circumstances. Marcus didn't just believe in virtue as a concept. He practiced it daily as emperor. He writes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He tried to rule with justice rather than cruelty, put duty before pleasure, and consider the welfare of all Romans, not just the elite. When his empire faced financial difficulties, he sold imperial possessions rather than raising taxes on his citizens. Even when dealing with enemies, he aimed for fairness. After putting down a rebellion led by Avidius Cassius, he ordered Cassius's personal papers to be burned without reading them, so he wouldn't be tempted to take revenge on others who might have been implicated. These actions show that Marcus wasn't just writing pretty words about virtue. He was striving to live them, even when it was difficult. Part 6. Seeing things as they truly are. Marcus Aurelius was committed to seeing reality clearly, without adding unnecessary drama or storytelling. He constantly reminded himself to break things down to their true nature. He writes, "If you are pained by any external thing, It is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Marcus practiced taking a step back from his immediate reactions to look at situations objectively. When faced with a luxury object, he would remind himself it was just a piece of metal, or just threads of plant fiber woven together. This helped him avoid being overly impressed by wealth or possessions. Similarly, when faced with something unpleasant, he would describe it in simple, factual terms to remove the emotional sting. Instead of thinking, "This person is making a horrible, disrespectful comment that's ruining my day," he might think, "This person is moving their lips and producing sounds based on their limited understanding." This practice, sometimes called objective description, helps us separate facts from the stories we tell about those facts. It's not about denying reality, but seeing it more clearly. Consider how we might apply this today. When scrolling through social media and feeling jealous of someone's vacation photos, we could remind ourselves, these are just digital images showing a few selected moments from someone else's experience. They don't represent that person's entire life or happiness. Or when we make a mistake at work and start thinking, "I'm such a failure. Everyone will lose respect for me." We could step back and see more objectively. I performed one task incorrectly. I can learn from this and improve next time. Marcus also applied this clear seeing to human mortality. Rather than using flowery language about death, he would describe it simply as a natural process or a rearrangement of elements. While this might seem cold, it helped him face reality without unnecessary fear. He extends this practice to food and other pleasures too. When you have savories and fine foods in front of you, you'll gain an idea of what they are if you tell yourself that this is the dead body of a fish, and that the dead body of a bird or a pig, or that this fine wine is grape juice, and this purple robe is sheep's wool dyed with the blood of a shellfish. This isn't about never enjoying a meal or beautiful things. It's about seeing through the glamour we add to objects and experiences, helping us maintain perspective and freedom from obsessive desires. Part 7. Living in the present moment. The fifth major theme in meditations is the importance of focusing on the present moment. Marcus repeatedly reminds himself that the past is unchangeable, the future is uncertain, and only the present is truly in our hands. He writes, "Every moment think steadily as a Roman and a man to do what you have in hand with perfect and simple dignity and with kindness, freedom, and justice. Allow yourself no time for anything else, for in this way, nothing will hinder you from giving every act the finishing touches it requires." This focus on the present doesn't mean never planning for the future. Marcus himself had to plan military campaigns and imperial policies. Rather, it means bringing your full attention to whatever you're doing right now, instead of letting your mind constantly wander to worries about tomorrow or regrets about yesterday. To understand this better, think about how often our minds are somewhere else while our bodies are here. Have you ever driven home and realized you don't remember the journey because your mind was lost in thoughts? Or missed what someone was saying because you were thinking about what you'd say next? These are examples of not being present. Marcus believed that living fully in each moment not only makes us more effective, but also more content. He writes, "Do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Do not assemble in your mind the many and varied troubles which have come to you in the past and will come again in the future, but ask yourself with regard to every present difficulty, what is there in this that is unbearable and beyond endurance?" By breaking life down into present moments, even difficult situations become more manageable. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle months of this project," we can think, "I can handle working on this for the next hour." Marcus also recognized that focusing on the present helps us appreciate life more deeply. He writes, Do not act as if you are going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. When we truly understand that our time is limited, we're less likely to waste it on pointless anger, endless procrastination, or pursuits that don't align with our values. In our modern world of constant notifications and distractions, Marcus's advice to focus on the present is more relevant than ever. How often do we check our phones while talking with friends, or think about work while at home with family? These habits rob us of fully experiencing our lives as they happen. Practicing presence might mean truly tasting your food instead of eating while scrolling through news. It might mean giving a child your full attention when they speak to you. It might mean focusing completely on one task at work instead of juggling multiple things simultaneously. Marcus reminded himself to approach each task, conversation, and moment with his full attention and best effort. By doing so, he found that life became richer and more meaningful, regardless of external circumstances. Part 8. Dealing with difficult people. One of the most practical aspects of meditations is Marcus's advice on handling difficult people. As emperor, he certainly encountered his share of challenging personalities, from conniving politicians to demanding citizens. His first principle is to remember that people behave badly because they don't know better. He writes, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from bad. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of bad, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, and so none of them can hurt me." This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior. Rather, it's recognizing that difficult people are usually acting from their own confusion or pain, not from a desire to specifically hurt you. Marcus suggests we try to understand others before judging them. He writes, "Enter into the ruling faculty of others and allow others to enter into yours." This means trying to see the world from another person's perspective. Why might they be acting this way? What fears or beliefs are driving their behavior? This mental exercise often reduces our anger and increases our compassion. When someone behaves poorly, Marcus reminds himself not to feel exasperated or defeated or despondent because your days aren't packed with wise and moral actions, but to get back up when you fail, to celebrate behaving like a human, however imperfectly, and fully embrace the pursuit that you've embarked on. He applied this patience to others as well as himself. He understood that everyone, including the emperor, is a work in progress. For truly difficult cases, Marcus offers practical advice. The best revenge is to not be like your enemy. Instead of lowering ourselves to match someone's poor behavior, we can choose to maintain our own standards regardless of how others act. When dealing with someone spreading gossip or criticism, Marcus suggests asking, "How does this affect my character or virtue?" Often, the answer is that it doesn't, unless we choose to respond with anger or pettiness. He writes, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. The harm is to persist in one's own self-deception and ignorance." This willingness to be corrected, even as emperor, shows remarkable humility and a true commitment to growth rather than defending his ego. For situations where someone is deliberately trying to provoke anger, Marcus advises, when another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. Understanding the inner state of your critics helps you take their words less personally. A person who is habitually negative will be negative about most things, not just you. Finally, Marcus reminds himself that life is too short to waste on pointless conflicts. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Part 9. Facing Hardship and Suffering. Throughout Meditations, Marcus Aurelius develops a powerful framework for handling life's difficulties, from minor annoyances to major tragedies. First, he suggests that we view challenges as opportunities for growth. He writes, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means seeing obstacles not as unfair burdens, but as chances to practice virtue and develop strength. Just as a muscle grows stronger when it meets resistance, our character develops when facing difficulties. Think about learning a new skill. The moments where you struggle and make mistakes are precisely the moments that lead to improvement. Without those challenges, no growth occurs. Marcus reminds himself that difficulty is a normal part of life, not a sign that something has gone wrong. Life is neither good nor bad. It is a place for both good and bad. When facing a setback, he suggests asking, does what happened keep you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, sanity, prudence, honesty, humility, straightforwardness? No? Then you haven't been harmed. This is a powerful reframing. It means that as long as difficult circumstances don't prevent you from expressing your values, you haven't truly been harmed in the ways that matter most. For dealing with pain, illness, or physical suffering, Marcus offers this perspective. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. He doesn't deny that pain exists, but he recognizes that how we think about pain significantly affects our experience of it. Modern pain research confirms this. Our thoughts about pain can indeed amplify or reduce our suffering. Marcus also recommends breaking overwhelming situations into manageable parts. Do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Instead, ask yourself with regard to every present difficulty, what is there in this that is unbearable and beyond endurance? When we take life one moment at a time, even great challenges become more approachable. Instead of thinking, I can't handle being sick for months, we can think, I can handle feeling this way for the next hour. For life's most difficult moments, Marcus reminds himself of the impermanence of all things. All that you see will soon alter and cease to exist. Think of how many changes you have already witnessed. This perspective doesn't eliminate grief or pain, but it places our suffering in a larger context. Our current troubles, however intense they feel right now, will eventually transform or pass. Finally, Marcus emphasizes maintaining perspective during hardship, how trivial the things we want so passionately are, and how much more philosophical it would be to take what comes as it comes and make the best of it. Throughout his writings, we see a man who didn't expect life to be easy, but who developed profound tools for navigating its inevitable challenges with dignity and inner peace. Part 10. Contemplating Mortality. Death is a subject many of us avoid thinking about, but Marcus Aurelius considered regular reflection on mortality essential to living well. Far from being morbid, he found that remembering life's finite nature helped him prioritize what truly matters. He writes, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't meant to create anxiety, but to sharpen our focus. When we remember that our time is limited, we're less likely to waste it on petty conflicts, meaningless activities, or postponing what's important. Marcus reminds himself, every hour focus your mind attentively on executing the task at hand with precise and genuine seriousness, with tenderness, willingness, and justice, as if this was your last act in life. Imagine approaching ordinary moments with this mindset: a conversation with a loved one, a meal, your work. How would the quality of your attention change if you truly treated each act as potentially your last? For Marcus, contemplating death wasn't about fear, but about freedom from fear. He writes, "It is not death that a man should fear, but rather he should fear never beginning to live." He saw that many people postpone living authentically, always waiting for some future moment when everything will be perfect. Understanding life's brevity can wake us up from this postponement. Marcus also found comfort in seeing death as a natural process. Pass then through this little space of time in harmony with nature, and end your journey in contentment, just as an olive falls off when it is ripe, blessing the earth that bore it and grateful to the tree that gave it growth. Just as we don't consider it tragic for leaves to fall in autumn, Marcus saw human death as part of nature's cycle, not as a cosmic injustice. He reminds himself of the countless people who have died before. Alexander of Macedon and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. They were either received among the same generative principles of the universe, or they were alike dispersed among the atoms. This democratic nature of death, that it comes to everyone regardless of wealth, fame, or power, helped Marcus maintain humility as emperor and perspective during life's ups and downs. For those who fear being forgotten after death, Marcus offers this thought: the memory of everything is very soon overwhelmed in time. Rather than finding this depressing, he used it to focus on doing good for its own sake, not for lasting recognition. If even emperors are eventually forgotten, why worry so much about what others think of us? Marcus's reflections on mortality culminate in a simple but profound approach to life. Perfection of character is this: to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense. By keeping death in mind, he found greater appreciation for life. The knowledge that nothing lasts forever made each moment more precious, not less. Part 11. The Journey Toward Inner Peace. Throughout Meditations, Marcus Aurelius explores what creates true contentment. Despite being emperor, he recognized that happiness comes from within, not from external power or possessions. He writes, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This might seem surprising coming from someone who had access to every luxury available in the ancient world. But Marcus had observed how wealth and power often brought anxiety rather than satisfaction to those who possessed them. Instead, he found peace in simplifying his desires. If you seek tranquility, do less. Then he corrects himself. Better. Do what's essential in the requisite way. Doing less, better, brings optimal results. This doesn't mean doing nothing, but eliminating the unnecessary, focusing on what truly matters rather than exhausting ourselves with endless busyness. Marcus also found contentment in accepting things as they are. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. This isn't passive resignation, but an active practice of aligning our expectations with reality. When we stop fighting against what is, we free up enormous energy previously spent on frustration and disappointment. Nature itself was a source of peace for Marcus. Constantly regard the universe as one living being, having one substance and one soul. All things are implicated with one another, and the bond is holy, and there is hardly anything unconnected with any other thing. By seeing himself as part of a larger natural whole, Marcus found comfort even during difficult times. The same pattern continues today. Many people report feeling peace when connecting with nature or recognizing their place in something larger than themselves. Marcus also found tranquility through focusing on the present. Do not disturb yourself by thinking of your whole life. Do not let your thoughts at once embrace all the various troubles that you may expect to befall you, but on every occasion ask yourself, what is there in this that is intolerable and past bearing? You will be ashamed to confess. By staying in the present moment, he avoided the anxiety that comes from projecting far into an imagined future. Perhaps most importantly, Marcus found peace by developing an inner citadel of virtue that external circumstances couldn't touch. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This remarkable ability to transform obstacles into opportunities meant that nothing could truly disturb his inner peace unless he allowed it to. Finally, Marcus reminds himself to maintain perspective about life's ups and downs. Remember that all is opinion. For what was said by the cynic Monimus is manifest, and manifest too is the use of what was said, if a man receives what may be got out of it as far as it is true. By recognizing that many of our strongest reactions come from our judgments rather than from events themselves, Marcus found freedom from being tossed about by life's changing fortunes. His path to inner peace wasn't about escaping reality, but about engaging with it more wisely, simplifying desires, accepting what is, connecting with nature, staying present, developing inner strength, and maintaining perspective. These practices remain as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. Part 12. Practical Applications for Modern Life. As we near the end of our journey through meditations, let's explore how Marcus Aurelius's ideas can be applied to our modern lives. His ancient wisdom offers practical solutions to many contemporary challenges. For dealing with technology and information overload, Marcus's advice to focus on the essential is invaluable. If you seek tranquility, do less. In a world of endless notifications and distractions, deliberately limiting inputs and focusing on what truly matters can restore our sense of calm and purpose. When it comes to social media and comparison culture, his insights about fame and external validation are particularly relevant. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. Marcus would likely encourage us to rely less on likes and comments for our sense of worth, and instead develop our own internal standards of value. For workplace stress and career challenges, his perspective on obstacles as opportunities offers a powerful reframing. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Difficult colleagues, tight deadlines, or career setbacks can all become chances to practice patience, creativity, and resilience. When facing personal criticism or online hostility, Marcus's approach to difficult people provides guidance. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from bad. This isn't about excusing bad behavior, but recognizing that it comes from others' confusion, not your worth as a person. For those struggling with anxiety about the future, whether about climate change, political turmoil, or personal concerns, Marcus reminds us to focus on what we can control. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. This doesn't mean ignoring real problems, but addressing them constructively rather than spiraling into worry. In our busy lives where burnout is common, his advice to pause and reflect offers a remedy. People look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in your power, whenever you shall choose to retire into yourself. For nowhere either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble does a man retire than into his own soul. Taking moments throughout the day to check in with ourselves, perhaps through meditation, journaling, or simply a few mindful breaths, can provide the inner retreat Marcus describes. For relationship challenges, his emphasis on understanding others' perspectives is timeless. When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. None can do this unless by holding fast to the principles of the same nature that he himself shares with them. Remembering our shared humanity helps us respond with patience rather than reactivity when relationships become difficult. And for coping with loss and disappointment, his perspective on change and impermanence offers both comfort and clarity. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. By recognizing that change is inevitable in our relationships, careers, health, and all areas of life, we can hold more lightly to what we have while appreciating it fully. These practical applications show why Marcus Aurelius's writings remain relevant across the centuries. His insights weren't abstract theories, but lived practices that helped him navigate the complexities of human experience, complexities that, despite our technological advances, remain fundamentally unchanged. Before we completely conclude our journey, let me share some practical ways you might incorporate Marcus Aurelius's wisdom into your daily routine. These simple practices, inspired by meditations, can help transform philosophical concepts into lived experience. Morning reflection. Marcus began each day by preparing his mind for the challenges ahead. You might try a similar practice. Upon waking, take a few minutes to sit quietly and remind yourself of your core values. Consider what challenges you might face during the day and how you want to respond to them. Remember that while you can't control what happens, you can control your reactions. You might ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today, regardless of what happens? How can I express kindness, patience, courage, and wisdom in my interactions? This morning preparation sets an intention that can guide your responses throughout the day. The pause. Marcus practiced stepping back from strong emotions to gain perspective. When you notice yourself becoming angry, anxious, or upset, try pausing and asking, is this within my control or outside it? Am I adding judgments to the situation that are causing my suffering? How would this look if I described it objectively? This brief pause creates space between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose your reaction rather than being driven by automatic thoughts. Evening review. At day's end, Marcus likely reflected on his actions and thoughts. You might try a similar practice. Before sleep, review your day without harsh judgment, but with honest assessment. Where did you live according to your values? Where did you fall short? What can you learn from both? You might ask, did I respond to difficulties with wisdom? Was I kind to others? Did I waste time on things that don't truly matter? What can I do better tomorrow? This practice accelerates learning and growth as each day becomes a conscious lesson. Perspective shift. When facing something that seems negative, practice Marcus's habit of reframing. Ask yourself, how could this obstacle become an opportunity? What virtue can I practice because of this challenge? How might this difficulty be preparing me for something important? This mental shift transforms problems from burdens into chances for growth. Impermanence reminder. Throughout your day, particularly when strongly attached to something, practice Marcus's contemplation of impermanence. Gently remind yourself, this too shall pass. Whether it's a difficult emotion, a prized possession, a relationship, or even a joyful moment, acknowledging its temporary nature can help you appreciate it fully without clinging. Nature connection. Marcus found perspective by contemplating nature and the cosmos. In our modern lives, we can practice something similar. Take moments to step outside, look at the sky, notice plants growing, or observe natural patterns. Remember that you are part of something larger than yourself, connected to all living things. This perspective can make personal troubles seem less overwhelming. Simplicity practice. Marcus valued simplicity and essentials over luxury and excess. Consider regularly evaluating your possessions, activities, and commitments. Ask, does this add true value to my life? Is this essential? Does this align with my deeper values? Then gradually eliminate the unnecessary to focus on what truly matters. Compassion reflection. When dealing with difficult people, practice Marcus's approach to understanding others. Before responding to someone who frustrates you, pause and consider. What beliefs or experiences might be causing them to act this way? What might they be afraid of or suffering from that I can't see? How are they similar to me despite our differences? This reflection often transforms anger into compassion. These practices don't require special equipment or large amounts of time. They're simple mental shifts that can be incorporated into your existing routine. Like Marcus, you don't need to do them perfectly. What matters is the continuous return to these principles, the gradual reshaping of perspective through daily practice. As you experiment with these approaches, you may find, as Marcus did, that small changes in how you think can profoundly transform how you experience life. Final thoughts. The timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. After Marcus Aurelius's death in 180 CE, his personal writings could easily have been lost forever. We don't know exactly how they were preserved or who first recognized their value. For centuries, they were known only to a small circle of scholars and philosophers. When the first printed edition appeared in 1558, few could have predicted how widely these private reflections would eventually spread. Today, Meditations has been translated into virtually every major language and is read by people of all backgrounds, from world leaders and CEOs to students, artists, and anyone seeking wisdom for daily living. What explains this enduring appeal? Perhaps it's the universal nature of the challenges Marcus addresses, challenges that transcend time, culture, and circumstance. Perhaps it's the accessible, practical nature of his approach. Or perhaps it's the authenticity that shines through his words, the voice of a real person wrestling with real difficulties, not a distant sage pronouncing perfect wisdom. Whatever the reason, Meditations continues to serve as a companion and guide to those navigating life's complexities. In hospital rooms and boardrooms, on military bases and in meditation centers, during times of personal crisis and moments of quiet reflection, Marcus's words offer perspective, courage, and a path toward inner peace. As we come to the end of our audio journey through Meditations, let's reflect on the enduring power of Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. What makes this book so remarkable is not just its profound ideas, but the humility with which they were expressed. These weren't grand pronouncements from on high, but the private notes of a man trying, sometimes struggling, to live according to his principles. We've explored Marcus's core teachings, controlling our responses rather than external events. Understanding our connected and temporary nature, seeing virtue as the only true good, perceiving things as they truly are, living in the present moment, dealing effectively with difficult people, facing hardship with courage, contemplating mortality to appreciate life, and finding inner peace regardless of circumstances. These practices helped a Roman emperor navigate the complexities of leadership, war, family life, and personal challenges nearly 2 millennia ago. Yet they remain equally powerful tools for our modern lives. In many ways, Marcus Aurelius speaks more directly to our time than to his own. In an age of distraction, his focus on the essential feels revolutionary. In a culture often obsessed with external validation, his emphasis on inner character offers a different path to meaning. In a world that can feel increasingly chaotic, his practices for maintaining inner stability provide a source of resilience. Perhaps the greatest gift of meditations is the permission it gives us to be imperfectly human while still striving for wisdom. Marcus wrote these notes because he needed the reminders he hadn't perfectly mastered these principles. He was practicing just as we all must practice. As he puts it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This simple exhortation cuts through intellectual debates and philosophical complexities to the heart of what matters, our daily choices and actions. Not perfect understanding, but earnest effort. Not flawless execution, but continuous return to our highest intentions. In reading Marcus's private thoughts, we encounter not just a Stoic philosopher or Roman emperor, but a fellow human being facing universal challenges, dealing with difficult people, managing his own thoughts and emotions, seeking meaning amid uncertainty, and striving to leave the world a little better than he found it. His voice reaches across the centuries with remarkable immediacy, reminding us that while technologies and societies change, the fundamental questions of human life remain consistent. How shall we face suffering? How shall we treat others? What truly matters in this brief life? Marcus Aurelius didn't claim to have perfect answers to these questions, but he showed us a path of continuous practice, of turning toward wisdom rather than away from it, of responding to life's challenges with courage and clarity rather than reactivity. As we close our exploration of meditations, I invite you to carry something of Marcus's wisdom into your own life. Perhaps it's the practice of morning reflection, examining your principles, and setting intentions for the day. Perhaps it's the habit of stepping back from strong emotions to see situations more clearly. Perhaps it's simply the recognition that within you lies the capacity for inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Whatever resonates most strongly, remember that wisdom becomes valuable not when it's admired from a distance, but when it's applied in the laboratory of daily life. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the wisdom of meditations. As Marcus himself might say, the value of these ideas lies not in hearing them once, but in returning to them regularly, testing them against experience, and allowing them to gradually reshape how we see the world and ourselves. In the quiet moments of your life, when facing challenges large or small, perhaps you'll hear an echo of this Roman emperor's voice, reminding you that within your own mind lies the power to transform any experience through how you choose to view it. As Marcus wrote in what could serve as a fitting conclusion to our exploration, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. As you continue your own journey, I hope the ideas we've explored together will serve as helpful landmarks, especially during difficult times. Remember that, like Marcus, you don't need to apply these principles perfectly. What matters is the commitment to growth, the willingness to examine your thoughts, and the courage to align your actions with your highest values. In the spirit of Marcus Aurelius, I'll close with a simple encouragement. Live well today. Not yesterday, which is gone forever. Not tomorrow, which exists only in imagination. But today, this present moment, which is the only time you ever truly have. Thank you for sharing this journey through the timeless wisdom of meditations. May it serve you well in all the days to come.